Hi there, Tracy. How's it going?
Gary Lightbody, it's a pleasure to be in your company through television and Zoom and modern technology. How are you doing? It's great to see you.
Very good. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You can hear the voice is a little fragile after Electric Picnic, you know.
Right, right. I've heard everybody had a great time.
It was
It's
really,
just
really
fantastic.
good. It was really good. The weather was stunning. The voice
Brilliant.
was shouting. And before we get on to this interview, obviously you've played to massive crowds throughout your whole career. Can you give me a little tip, please? What do I do for this? How do I get this back?
There's lots of different things to do. Steaming is very good, and I don't mean go out on the Raz. Honey, lemon and ginger, just the classic honey, lemon, ginger. Come on now, you can do that. You can do
I'm
that.
gonna try and do that.
Have a wee cup of that. You'll feel
I
much
have
better.
it there beside me right there. It's just not working. It's not working. And I wanted the voice to be in tip-top shape to be chatting to you.
Try steaming. It's very good.
I will. The new song, we're going to play it in the end of this chat, and I want to talk about so many things because we actually haven't chatted in about, I'd say, a decade. The Forest is the Path is the brand new album. Fraser T. Smith is the producer on this, and I wanted to ask you about getting Fraser involved because I want to tell our listeners, like, this is a producer who's worked with like Dave, Adele, Stormzy, Lily Allen, Snow Patrol, and I want to actually ask you about asking somebody to produce an album. Is that like asking somebody to go out on a date?
Yes, kind of. It's certainly about chemistry. That's for sure. Finding the right person to produce, because we tried to make the album last year too, and it didn't work out. The chemistry wasn't right, and nobody's fault. It just happens that way sometimes. And then when we went in with Fraser, it like within minutes, it felt like it clicked. So yeah, in a way, it's like having that spark with anybody. You know, you feel like you're going to have a good relationship, and he's just such a lovely human being, and made everything so calm and easy. And we'd gone through a little bit of chaos trying to make it the first time, so having that calmness this time was what facilitated making the record, work.
Is that what you need when Snow Patrol are in the studio? Do you need nice vibes, country settings, calmness, a few Joe Malone candles?
There was candles at times, for sure. Not necessarily. I think that adversity is a good kind of grindstone for a record. Sometimes it's important that there's something that you're pushing against sometimes, but I think we'd done all our pushing against stuff already by the time we got in with Fraser, and it was exactly the right vibe that we needed in that moment, because the first time we tried to make it took 5 months and we didn't get it right, and with Fraser it took 5 weeks. So that's the sort of difference between the two kind of vibes in the studio.
Love that. It says, I think it's yourself that is quoted by saying, this is the biggest sounding record that you guys have ever made. That's a big statement.
Mm-hmm. It is a big statement. I must have had my Weetabix the morning that I said that. I think that the first 8 tracks on the record are all kind of very big sounding songs. I don't think we've ever done that before, where we just sort of hit, it's like big song after big song. We just felt like it's a lyrically, it goes into a lot of places. It's introspective in places and expansive in places, but musically I think it does exactly the same thing, this expansion and contraction. It's just that the first half of the record there's some bangers in there.
There's some bangers. Snow Patrol and the bangers, and we love bangers. Absolutely brilliant. Tell me about the theme of the album. And the reason why I want to ask you, because when I was researching this, it was like it's a retrospective look at relationships and love and your lives over the past, I'd say, like maybe 7 or 8 years. How do you find writing about past loves and relationships? Is that cathartic for you? Is it does it bring you back? Is it regretful? Like, what do you feel when you're writing about these things in studio with everybody?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been in a relationship, so it's all in the past for me. Yeah. So it's really the only way I can sort of think about it. It's cathartic in a way, but I think mainly I'm just trying to figure out how to live right now, today, in this moment. So any advice that my younger selves can give me, I'm up for listening. All right, okay, well, you know, the album is also about time. It's mostly about time. It's about how time speeds up and slows down depending on how fast your heart is beating. And you know, I love that, the idea that we're told that time is linear. We're told that 1 second follows another, but we know in our hearts that that's not true, because time can come to an absolute standstill. In love, falling in love feels like time comes to a standstill, but being in grief too. So, and it can speed up at times that we don't want it to speed up. We're having so much fun. We're like, oh my goodness, where did that go? Yeah. Where did that day go? That best day that we just had there. So a lot of the record is kind of about how we are sort of unfixed, untethered in time, rather than how we're tethered to it. I like the idea of just being a sort of a balloon floating around in time.
Oh, I love that. A very light body balloon floating around in time. I love that.
Well, I'm certainly a balloon, yeah.
Come here now. The song All, I want to talk to you about a line that just stood out to me. 3 lines that stood out to me. And I was wondering if you would be so kind as to talk about it for me. It wasn't that I wasn't feeling anything, more like feeling everything at once. So I guess this is a love song after all. I got a sense of panic like that, more like feeling everything at once, and you're just like in a panic freeze. I just loved that line. Can you talk to me about that?
Yes, it's actually, I wrote a song years ago for Tired Pony, which is another band that I'm in, called All Things All at Once. And ever since then, I've kind of been obsessed by that idea that there is a theory in science, that a few different ones. Carlo Rovelli speaks about it in his wonderful book, The Order of Time. But it's that time is actually all our past, present, and future is all happening at once. We're all kind of encased in time, and I kind of love that idea that everything is accessible. That a moment that, you know, that isn't lost. Like my father died 4 years ago, and I like the idea that he's still, it's grief happens to everybody, and I feel for everyone that's goes through those sort of things, I appreciate it. Thank you. But I don't say that for any other reason. That I like the idea that he's still here. I like the idea that there's moments of him still in the time that I'm living in right now. So that's kind of what that all kind of means. It's not, it can be a very kind of intense thought, everything happening at once, but I'm more thinking about it in terms of everything is accessible at once, rather than it all kind of like falling on top of us.
The video for sometimes. All as well is Thomond Park, like that whole thing. So with everything happening at once, do you take time to take stock of people having a good time at your gigs?
Yes, and Thomond Park was a really good example of that, because everybody seemed to be, every time I looked out, everybody seemed to be having an absolute whale of a time. So it was one of the best nights we've had in a long time. I'm so glad that we filmed it, so that we can show everybody just how awesome it was.
A friend of mine was home from America and went to the gig, and a lot of his friends came over kind of working for the summer. So they worked Thomond Park and they worked the bar, and they work in American bars. They've never seen anything like it. They said, they were like, oh my God, I didn't realise. Like, I thought, usually at gigs in America, there's more bigger queues for the food than there are for the bar. Yeah. I thought that going to your gig would just be able to, just have a look at. No, they were rammed every single night. So I think everybody.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad there was enough access to the bars.
They still got to see you as well, so they were happy about that. You're single 10 years. Like, do you think now that at 10 years that you're done with relationships? And I don't want to pry in any way, shape or form. I just know that I went through a period years ago of dating myself, and it was the best thing I ever did.
I'm open to the idea, but I'm not looking, I'm not searching. I'm sort of more, the searching that I'm doing is more kind of for me, because I never really did much of that until about sort of the last 10 years myself, and that sort of just coincided with getting sober and sort of getting sort of into a more healthy state of mind. So I've been doing a lot of that. Basically, trying to get myself healthy more than anything.
Yeah.
I'm not closed off to the idea of love. I'm just trying to be healthy.
Good. As I say, you love yourself first, and then everything else comes with that. And I love that for you. We wouldn't be finding you on Hinge or Tinder anytime soon, Gary, would we?
No.
Are you sure now?
I'm sure.
Oh, I'd be looking. I'd be like, oh my God, Gary Lightbody's single. Where do I find him?
Yeah, no. I'm not on those. No.
Okay, fair enough. But I'd say it is really hard then to I don't know, just meet people, because especially in your profession, I mean, especially in the gig and when the tour season starts, like you're, here and then you're everywhere and then you're off to the next place. I'd say it is tough. So yeah. And obviously the dating scene has changed so much since 20 years ago. Everything is online. So maybe you should consider online dating going forward. That's just putting that out there for you.
Maybe. But not yet.
Not yet. Good. Taylor Swift, obviously we know about the Red album. Did you re-record that with her, or did she use your vocal going forward?
No, we re-recorded the whole track. Yeah.
Did you back in studio together?
Yeah. Well, we were different studios, but yeah, the first time we recorded together. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what she did to reclaim all her back catalogue for herself. That's an absolutely amazing thing to do.
Love that. Because I was wondering, was the vocal just used? But no, it was.
Re-recorded.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you do something different then? Did you kind of feel a little different doing the new stuff?
The idea was to redo it, in a similar way, which I think is great.
Yeah. The Forest is the Path is out in September, so not long now for Snow Patrol fans to get their hands on the new stuff. So obviously then with an album comes a tour and hopefully. Has anything been announced yet? Are we allowed to? Is that like on the card? Should people be saving their pennies for maybe getting some tickets soon?
Yeah, well, we're playing Dublin in February, the 3 Arena, and there's a couple of Belfast shows too around that same time. And there will be more shows in Ireland announced, I would say, before the end of this year. Right. Because at the moment there's only 3 shows announced, so obviously we're going to do more than that.
We're so looking forward to it. As you say, it's the biggest sounding record you've ever made. Cannot wait to hear the whole thing properly in full. And I'd say the whole Snow Patrol family of fans are just delighted to get out and see and to support you again, as they always do. Gary Lightbody, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. It was great chatting to you.
This is not a love song. I'm just checking that your light's still on. I just wanna feel like I belong, but I don't know where I am.